them in a economic sense, and I just think that's very unfair. So I just wanted to make a statement. I'm going to buy one. Now, here's the bad news. I'm not allowed to drive because I haven't driven a car in a long time, and I love to drive cars. But I'm going to have it at the White House, and I'm going to let my staff use it. I'm going to let people at the place use it, and they all are all excited about that. I'm not allowed to use it. Can you believe it? One of my great things in life is that I can, I like to drive cars, but I'm not allowed to. And I will say this one, the Cybertruck, I bought for a very special young woman. Do you know? I'm sure you've never heard of her, Kai. And she's a great golfer, and she puts the clubs in the back, and I guess it's a very safe deal. She loves it. And I actually bought one about a year ago, and she loves it. And it's very safe, it's very strong, heavy. It's all steel, stainless steel. But the cars themselves, so what is this one, Elon?
That's a Model Y.
That's a Model Y, so I have a lot of information to put into price.
Yeah.
I want to make a good deal here. I do notice this. They have one, which is $35,000, which is pretty low. What is that all about?
Yeah, I guess we want to make the point that Teslas aren't all expensive. You can get a Tesla for as little as $35,000.
Yeah.
And I just want to thank the President for his support. This means a lot. And also thank everyone out there who is supporting Tesla. It's really terrible that there's so much violence being perpetrated against people at Tesla, Tesla supporters, Tesla owners, Tesla stores. These are innocent people who've done nothing wrong.
But nobody's been, it hasn't been, there's been some physical damage, a little damage, and we want to keep it that way because I don't want to say this, it's just not the appropriate, but law enforcement's out there watching everybody. We don't want this to happen. And not to somebody that's been so good to our country. He didn't have to do this. He didn't have to go through this. And we can't let it happen. And aside from that, I happen to love the product. It's a lot nicer if you also happen to love the product. And he's done a really good job. Go ahead, Peter.
Is there, I guess this is for Elon Musk. Is there a discount? President Trump wrote the art of the deal. Is there any kind of room for negotiating here?
Let me answer that. I know he'd give me a discount, but honestly, I don't want to ask for one. I'm president, so I want to pay full price.
And what is your message, President Trump? Buying a new car, while there are some folks who will see this clip at home and they are struggling with their retirement accounts down at the moment, uncertainty about work ahead.
Well, I think they're going to do great. I think our country had to do this. We had to go and do this. They've taken away, other countries have taken away our business. They've taken away our jobs. I did it initially very strongly against, as you know, China and some others in the first term. And it was a very successful term. We had no inflation. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. And then we had COVID, which we had to straighten out, so I didn't want to be doing anything with respect to other countries at that time. And we did a great job with it. We handed the stock market over. It was higher than it ever was. And think of that, higher than it ever was to that point before. And nobody thought that was even possible. We did a great job. But we had the greatest economy in history. This economy, in my opinion, is going to blow it away. But what I have to do is I have to get the workers back. I have to get the factories open. We have 90,000 factories and plants are closed from what you had just prior to NAFTA, which is not very long ago. 90,000, think of it, 90,000 factories and plants are closed from what it was, and it's just not right. So, and we gave it away. Presidents before me gave it away, and I could name every one of them, but they gave it away, and we're taking it back. We're taking our jobs back. And one of the things I'll say, by the way, speaking of Tesla, he manufactures more cars. I mean, he opened this incredible plant, one of the largest plants in the world, in Texas. Could you talk about that, Elon?
Yeah, it's worth noting that the Tesla cars have the most U.S. content of any cars on the market, so they're the most American made. We have the biggest factory and the most advanced automotive factory in Texas that we've opened and continue to expand. And so this is very much these are great products. A Model S is one best car ever. So they've all these cars have won incredible awards. So they're great cars and they're American made. And I think try it. You'll like it. Yeah.
And I'm just saying, beyond the cars, they're great. But we have to celebrate somebody that has the courage to do this. He could have said, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to get involved. Let the country go to hell. He didn't want to do that. And remember, he's going to find, and we're up to almost $500 billion worth of waste and fraud and abuse. $500 billion. We're giving $2 billion here, $2 billion there, not millions. It was a bet. If it was $1 million or $2 million, that's a lot of money. But we're talking about billions of dollars being given to defunct, scams, given to people with nothing. They have nothing going. They open up a subchapter S corporation, and they put $2 billion into it from nowhere. And we've caught a lot of them. I wish we could catch all of them, but we've caught a lot of them. And he's been largely responsible. So we have to celebrate him. And it's not that he's conservative. I don't even know if he's conservative. I will tell you this.
These days
I've been doing this I've known him for a pretty long time. He endorsed me. I didn't know him that well when he endorsed me. But in the time I've known him, he has never asked me for a favor. He didn't ask me for this. I said, Elon, I don't like what's happening to you. And Tesla's a great company. I don't like what's happening. It's, from our standpoint, American cars, American made. He employs thousands of people. He's got, at the same time, he has the most modern plants in the world. I said, I don't like what's happened to you. I'm going to do it. I didn't even know he was going to come. He's never asked me for anything. He endorsed me, and he never asked me. I didn't even know he was going to endorse me. The guy has never asked me. He's not saying, in fact, I could go a step further. I ended the electric mandate. Okay, I ended the electric mandate, and I figured, when's this guy calling to raise hell with me? And he never called. I mean, he never called me. If I were him, I would have called.
So on that,
because he's probably even better than I am.
Mr. President, is Elon Musk rubbing off on you? Is electric then the way to go?
It's not that this isn't for electric or gas, because people have their choices.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that I know people that have these cars. I know one man, we see him all the time.
Yeah.
He has 5 of them.
Yeah.
He thinks it's and he was a big guy for Ferraris and other things. And he says, man, it blows him away. I know other people, they have 3, 4, they love them. They love them. And some people like the gas, and they should have their options.
Right.
I'm all about options. But I'm telling you, I ended the electric mandate, and I was waiting for a call. I said, did Elon call yet? They said, no, sir. The next day, what about Elon? Did he call? He never even mentioned it to me, never complained. Until this moment, I'm just bringing it up. Who would do that?
Yeah.
He has never asked me for a thing. And he's built this great company, and he shouldn't be penalized because he's a patriot. He's an incredible patriot. And I don't even know if he's a Republican. I really don't.
Mr. President,
Mr. President.
Well, I'm not sure if he was.
Tesla stock is
You're going to
also
have drops, and markets are going to go up, and they're going to go down.
Yeah.
But you know what? We have to rebuild our country. Our country has been stripped of its jobs, of its factories. And I'm tired of seeing where they build apartments, cheap apartments in an old broken down factory. But you have factories all over the place that are empty from many decades ago. And we're going to change it around. And it's all taxing policy. You know, it's really a policy because we have great workers, great people. It's really a policy of taxing and incentives. And I'm bringing the incentives back. And I'll tell you what, numerous plants, and I don't want to mention specifically, but I'll mention this one. Numerous plants in Mexico and other places that were under construction or soon to be under construction are now coming here, and they've dropped that because it was unfair what was happening. Mexico, they were building cars, they were selling them into the United States with no tax, no nothing, and in the United States we were allowing them to take our jobs and take our factories, and we don't do that anymore. Now, from a president, it would be a lot easier if I just coasted for another 4 years. I would have been an 8-year president. I had the best economy in history in my first 4 years. I would have done very well with this one. And I had a decision to make. Do I want to do this or do I not? Do I want to do it right? The right thing to do is what we're doing. We're going to get our jobs back, and we're not going to be laughed at. Now, I will say this, that already Canada, and I respect very much, as you know, there's a very strong man in Canada who said he was going to charge a surcharge or a tariff on electricity coming into our country. He has called and he said he's not going to do that. Okay, he's not going to do that. and it would have been a very bad thing if he did, and he's not going to do that, so I respect that. But we were just informed that he's not going to do that. Look, we've been treated very unfairly by Canada. We've been treated very unfairly by Mexico. But we've been treated very unfairly by every country all over the world. The European Union is horrible, horrible. And we're going to get it back. And I have a choice. I could just coast, and eventually there'd be a blow-up down the road, maybe a long way. But we owe $36 trillion, and we're going to get it back. We're the biggest, we're the best, and I'm very optimistic. I have to tell you, I'm very optimistic about the country. Much more optimistic this way than if I did it the easy way. Yeah. I could have done it the easy way, I could have coasted. Biden left us a mess. He left us tremendous inflation, tremendously high costs of products. He left us a mess, but he also left us a mess with millions of people that poured into our country that are criminals. Millions of those people happen to be criminals. And we're looking for them all over the place. We're looking for them. And Holman and Christie are doing an incredible job. But he left us a horrible situation, and we're changing it. But one of the things we're changing is we're going to make our country really wealthy again. We're going to bring our jobs back. Right now, we're like a chicken that's being plucked at from all over the world. We're not going to let that happen anymore.
Mr. President,
but very importantly, and I said it, Ukraine, ceasefire, Ukraine, ceasefire, just agreed to a little while ago. Now we have to go to Russia, and hopefully President Putin will agree to that also, and we can get this show on the road. We can get this horrible war where 2,000 to 3,000 soldiers a week, every week, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 sometimes. I get the reports, and they're not American soldiers. They're Ukrainian and they're Russian. But people are being killed outside of that. People are being killed in the cities as things explode throughout the cities. And we want to get that war over with. So I think it's a very big, I think it's a big difference between the last visit you saw at the Oval Office and this. So that's a total ceasefire. Ukraine has agreed to it, and hopefully Russia will agree to it. We're going to meet with them later on today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be able to wipe out a deal. But I think the ceasefire is very important. If we can get Russia to do it, that'll be great. If we can't, we just keep going on, and people are going to get killed, lots of people.
Is Zelensky invited back to the White House?
Sure, absolutely.
Mr. President, you mentioned the ups and downs in the stock market. You said it'll go up, it'll go down. But do you and your tariff policies right now bear any responsibility for the turmoil we're seeing this week?
Biden gave us a horrible economy. He gave us horrible inflation. And I think the market was going to go very, very bad. If anything, I have a lot of very smart people, friends of mine and great businessmen. They're now investing because of what I'm doing. Because long term, what I'm doing is making our country strong again. Financially strong, militarily strong, and strong if we want to get away. Remember this, we have wars. When I left, we had no wars. We didn't have Ukraine and Russia. We didn't have October 7th. We didn't have that disaster that took place with the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And you look at what's happened there. We caught the major terrorist, which Biden wouldn't have caught. Why didn't he catch him? I caught him. 5 weeks into the presidency, I caught the man responsible for Abigate. And he's going to pay hell right now. He's a bad dude. He's a bad guy. But we didn't have these problems. I had no inflation. I had a great economy. He gave you high prices. You couldn't buy bacon. You couldn't buy anything. And also, I inherited a situation with eggs. The price of eggs was through the roof. Well, now the price of eggs has come down a lot. Interest rates have come down. Gasoline prices have come down. It's all coming down. It's all a beautiful thing. I can do it the right way or the wrong way. We're doing it the right way. And I have tremendous confidence in this country and the people of this country. Tremendous confidence, much more so than if I sat back for 4 years and had a good time in the Oval Office. I want to look at cars.
Mr. President, I have an announcement to make that I think will be helpful. I want to say, as a function of the great policies of President Trump and his administration, and as an act of faith in America, Tesla is going to double vehicle output in the United States within the next 2 years.
Thank you. And by the way, he makes one car. This one I don't understand. This one I don't want, but that's okay. Without a steering wheel, it comes out next year, right?
Yes.
Explain that, please.
Yes. Well, the Cybertruck starts production in Texas next year, and It's self-driving. We have so much confidence in the self-driving nature of it that it'll actually not have a steering wheel. It will not have pedals. It'll either self-drive or not drive at all. But it'll self-drive.
President Trump,
And I'm going to pass on that particular.
before this event today, when's the last time you bought a new car?
Wow. Well, I buy a lot for through my children because they run the company now. I used to buy a lot. I haven't bought a new car in a long time.
What was your first car?
The only thing I know is the Beast. I got a big car with very thick windows and thick side panels.
Is that going electric? Is the Beast going electric?
We buy a lot of cars. Actually, I bought this one for Kai.
Do you remember your first car?
The Ontario Premier calling you and giving you his decision about the electricity surcharge, and you said you were pleased about that. Will you make a different decision now about the tariffs on Canada? Will you reduce it?
At that, but probably so. Yeah, he was a
at-
gentleman.
Will you reduce it back?
He was a gentleman. Look, I said it before. We give Canada $200 billion a year. We subsidize Canada between all of the things we give them and trade. We give them. We don't have to have cars made in Canada. We don't have to have lumber from Canada. We have tremendous lumber. We have tremendous trees. All I have to do is unfreeze them from some of the restrictions that were put on. I can do that with an executive order. We don't need energy. We have more energy than anybody else in the world. So we spend $200 billion a year subsidizing Canada. We don't have to do that. And frankly, the way that gets solved is Canada should honestly become our 51st state. We wouldn't have a northern border problem. We wouldn't have a tariff problem. They don't have much, they spend very little, as you know, the least of almost anybody on military, and we spend the most of anybody on military. We have a great military. I rebuilt the military during my first time. We're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again, not that much, but we're going to have to rebuild it a little bit again. But Canada would be great as our cherished 51st state. You wouldn't have to worry about borders. You wouldn't have to worry about anything. And by the way, Canada is very highly taxed, and we're very low tax. We're considered a low-tax nation because of me, because I cut the taxes so low. So the people of Canada would pay much less tax. It makes a lot of sense. And by the way, when you take away that artificial line that looks like it was done with a ruler, and that's what it was. Some guy sat there years ago and they said, "Rah." Well, when you take away that and you look at that beautiful formation of Canada and the United States, there is no place anywhere in the world that looks like that. It's so
Greenland?
and then if you add Greenland, that's even.
I mean,
that's pretty
it's
good.
going to look beautiful.
Okay, I'm going to look at this. I'm going to make a decision. Do you want to hear what my decision?
Let's see it.
Okay, what's your best of these cars? What do you think?
Well, the car that I drive is the Model S Plaid
Which
C.
is that one?
That red one in the middle.
I like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that.
It's 0 to 60 miles an hour in 2 seconds. So faster than a Ferrari.
That's pretty fast. I don't know if my people can handle it. They're going to be using it more. I'm not allowed to use it.
That's fast.
That's a fast one.
Just to be clear,
That's
sir, the
beautiful.
50%, is that going to go into effect on Canada or no?
Which one?
The 50% tariffs?
I'll let you know about it. Yeah,
Okay.
I'll let you. But I appreciated his call. I thought it was nice. This is beautiful. Whoa! Should I get in?
Get in.
Okay. Let me get in this sucker.
On the Tesla?
Do you want my notes?
Yeah.
They gave me notes. I said, I'm not Biden. I don't need notes.
Yeah. I can take that.
Thank you. Now let me get into this sucker. I'll watch Secret Service go crazy. Thank you.
I mean, if you actually drove it around, it would
Oh,
really be
that's
well.
beautiful. Wow.
I get into this other side.
That's beautiful. This is a different panel than I've had. Everything's computer. That's beautiful. Wow.
Yeah, it's just a brake and an accelerator. Give Secret Service a run.
That's beautiful.
Can you start it?
Should I? I'll see the engine.
Oh, it's
You gonna get it wrapped in gold?
So, do you want to actually drive it?
You don't want me to drive it, do you?
I saw Biden do a
I'll tell you,
test
it
loop
could
here
be-
once in the Jeep.
Yeah, but
It's very easy to drive.
you're the only one that saw it.
So it's like driving a golf cart.
very simple.
It's very simple. So it's literally like a golf cart that goes really fast. There's no gears. And no
This is really amazing.
Let's take a look at that. Mr. President, you gonna get it wrapped in gold?
Think Biden could get into that car? I don't know. No, that's beautiful.
Yeah. Mr. President talks about some of the violence that's been going on around the country at dealerships. Some say they should be labeled domestic terrorists.
I
Because
will do that. I'll do it. I'm going to stop them. We catch anybody doing it because they're harming a great American company. You know, I've stuck up for the NFL. I've stuck up for a lot of American companies and other companies, but American companies. I did a very big favor for the NFL. I do favors for all. When you heard an American company, especially a company like this, supplies so many jobs that others are unable to do, when you do that, those people are going to go through a big problem when we catch them. And we have you get a lot of cameras up. We already know who some of them are. We're going to catch them. And they're bad guys. They're the same guys that screw around with our schools and universities, the same garbage. And no, we're going to catch them. And let me tell you, you do it to Tesla and you do it to any company, we're going to catch you and you're going to go through hell.
Mr. President,
what do you tell
your
CEOs
comments-
tonight at the Business Roundtable, especially with
Well, I
regard to
have a
these tariffs?
roundtable to make it a little while. I just considered this much more important because I want to buy one of these. My whole staff is so excited because I told them they're going to safely use them, and they can't believe it. So Margot, wherever you are, Margot, she's going to use it. They're all going to be using it, and they're going to have a good time using it. And if I can, oh, there you are, Margot. Look at Margot's right there. What are you, a member of the press now? I think she's become a member of the press. Takes great pictures. What do you think of it, Margot? Do you like the idea?
I love it.
Okay, good.
We're going to have fun.
They're very happy.
Mr. President, your comments the other day not ruling out a potential recession seemed to rattle the stock markets. The Commerce
I think this
Secretary said there
country is
wouldn't
going
be
to
one.
boom, just so you know.
Just specifically on the recession.
Yeah.
Do you
I
think
this
there will be a
country-
recession?
I don't see it at all. I think this country is going to boom. But as I said, I can do it the easy way or the hard way. The hard way to do it is exactly what I'm doing, but the results are going to be 20 times greater.
Mr. President, you asked.
And remember, Trump is always right. Right?
And what do you say to
If
Americans?
you look at what I've said over the last 10 years, Trump has been right all the time. This is the way to do it. We're going to make America great again. You know, to make it great, you have to have jobs, you have to have factories, you have to have. I look at some of the things that, like this last administration, he was the worst president in the history of our country. Nothing was happening. Nothing. He had no idea what was going on. Our country went to hell. And then to allow millions of people to come in that are prisoners and mental institution patients and all of the things, gang members, drug lords, we're searching them all down now, trying to get them out of our country. And we're going to do that. But on the financial end and the economic end, what we're doing is, to me, it's the most exciting. Our country will be greater than ever before, and it won't take too long.
And what's your message to Americans right now, sir, who are worried about the stock market? What's your message to them as they watch it?
That's fair to say. The Cybertruck was. Have you been?
Let's go see the Cybertruck. I did buy one of these. So.
So this is bulletproof.
I mean, look, in terms of imagination, I think I have a great imagination. Who else but this guy would design this, and everybody on the road is looking at it? It's amazing, actually. As soon as I saw it, I said, that is the coolest design. It's. Do you agree with that, Brian? I mean,
I do.
It's amazing.
It's very cool.
Yeah.
You got to give him credit.
We want the future to look like the future, and it's kind of what kind of truck would Blade Runner drive? That was the design idea.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
Hey, Elon, are you planning to remain CEO of Tesla while working with President Trump? Is there any thinking on your future at the company? As we're talking about Tesla, I'm wondering what your thinking is with leading the company going forward.
Yeah. I'm CEO of Tesla, and
You should.
yeah.
Any more plans
I
of
would get
additional
your
vehicles
thoughts on the
besides the ones
market.
you have now?
Well,
New
we've got
models?
the Cybercab coming out next year.
The
Which
one
is,
with no steering wheel. You're gonna buy one of
No,
those?
sir, I will not.
We'll pass. We're too
All due
old-fashioned.
respect,
Yeah.
yes,
So,
sir.
Mr. President, when you look at the market selling off, that didn't concern you, and
Nope,
where do you see it
doesn't
going?
concern me. I think some people are going to make great deals by buying stocks and bonds and all the things they're buying. I think we're going to have an economy that's a real economy, not a fake economy. It was a fake economy. They were putting in all government jobs. You see what happened last month? we had more real jobs, and government jobs are way down. That's going to continue. Those are real jobs. Those are jobs that keep the country going. You can't have all government jobs. You have no income to pay the workers.
Yeah.
And a lot of those workers didn't show up to work. That was the other problem.
And President Trump, there's this protest leader from Columbia University that the administration is moving to deport. And he said that his arrest is going to be the first of many. How many?
I think we ought to get them all out of the country. They're troublemakers. They're agitators. They don't love our country. We ought to get him the hell out. I think that guy, we ought to get him. I heard his statements too. They were plenty bad. And I think we ought to get him the hell out of the country. I watched him. I watched tapes specifically. I watched tapes. And you can have him. Okay? You can have him. And you can have the rest of them. Let him go to school. Let him learn. Columbia used to be a good school. Now it's been overrun because of bad leadership. That's what happens. Happens to countries, and it happens to universities, and it happens to companies. And I don't want it to happen to a guy that did nothing wrong. He did everything right because he did a great company. But what he did by coming into government to help government from years of abuse, from decades of abuse, and you see that when you look at Social Security, where you have 200-year-old people on the rolls of Social. That's just, he uses the word care. People don't care. Everyone knows that. But it's also, I believe it's also large fraud. I think it's that, but I think it's also large fraud. So I'm just telling people, this man is a great patriot, and you should cherish him. You should cherish him. You know, I have a little statement. We have to take care of our high IQ people because we don't have too many of them.
Mr. President,
and we got to take care of them.
And
Mr.
if you
President,
guys
will you
look at
talk
the
to
Social
President
Security
Putin
Administration and you guys are looking for fraud and waste and abuse, can you guarantee people who are concerned about an interruption to benefits that there will not be?
Yes, we're going to be very careful with any interruption to benefits. In fact, only by tackling the waste and fraud in entitlements like Social Security, Medicare, can we actually preserve those programs for the future. Because with unchecked fraud and waste, we won't be able to afford them. The president's very dedicated to solving the budget deficit, which if we don't solve the budget deficit, we're going to go bankrupt as a country. If we go bankrupt as a country, there's no Social Security, there's no Medicare, there's no nothing. And to sort of echo what the president was saying, what really matters is moving people from jobs that are relatively low productivity in government to high productivity in the private sector, increasing the true output of products and services. That's the real economy. That's what actually enables Americans to have a higher standard of living, and that's what's happening. And that's, I think, you'll see the truth of that in the months to come.
And we're going to make it really much stronger by taking people that don't exist or taking people that shouldn't be there out, by taking illegal aliens that are on Social Security or Medicaid and Medicare. By taking them out, we're making it much stronger. The country will be much stronger, but it's going to really be stronger economically. And when you look at what we're doing, I've been called by so many companies. Yesterday, as you know, I had a meeting with some of the biggest tech companies in the world. And all they're talking about, IBM was there. We had a lot of them. Michael Dell was there. We had a lot of great companies, Hewlett Packard. And all they're talking about is investing in this country. They want to be sure, don't forget, they're looking down the road 10 years and 15 years. They want to make sure we have a strong country. They're all coming in. As you know, Apple, Tim Cook, he said that he's going to invest $500 billion in the United States. He never did that before. He invested in China. He's got his plants in China. And now he's got them, going to be building them in the United States. And if I didn't have victory in that election, he wouldn't be doing it. And if I didn't say what I'm saying, and I'm being very honest, and it's much more difficult than just sitting around and having a great time. It's a very glamorous position if you want to do that. We could have kept it, but eventually bad things would have happened. This way, good things. I'm very optimistic about the country. I think we're going to have the greatest markets we've ever had, and it's going to be really fueled by what we're doing. You had to see these companies yesterday. They're investing billions and trillions. They're investing trillions of dollars here. They wouldn't have invested 10 cents.
Mr. President, will you talk to Vladimir Putin about this ceasefire deal? Do you think you need to have a conversation with him to get the Russians to agree?
I'll talk to Vladimir Putin, yeah.
When will
I
you
want to
talk
get,
to
look, that's the other, it takes two to tango, as they say, right? So hopefully he'll also agree, and I really think that would be 75% of the way. The rest is getting it documented. And you know, negotiating land positions, etc.
So you'll talk to him this week about the
think
deal?
so, yeah.
So
And when do you
have the
anticipate meeting him in
ceasefire
person?
in place on the Ukrainian side. How close do you think then you are to a total ceasefire with
Well,
the...
I hope it'll be over the next few days. I'd like to see. I know we have a big meeting with Russia tomorrow, and some great conversations hopefully will ensue. The people have done a great job. Marco Rubio's been great. Steve Witkoff's been great. Michael Waltz. They're all, every one of them, they've really stepped up. They are into it. They want to see two things. By far, number one is death of people that aren't citizens of our country, but they're people, just like you. They're people, and we want to stop. And we also don't want to give billions and hundreds of billions of dollars away. We're in there for $350 billion. And there was no reason this war would have never happened if I was president. So it's a very sad thing. Thank you all very much. I love Tesla.
Which one did you buy?
Wait, Mr. President.
Which one did you
Mr.
buy?
President, which car are you going to buy?
The one I like is that one.
And how does this work?
And I
So,
want that same color.
are you going to put down a credit card? Elon, would you take a personal
I'm gonna
check
give
from
him
the
a check.
president?
I do it the old I give checks.
Sure.
I like checks. You know?
Realistically,
I think his credit's good.
Do you still have access?
You know, I like a check better than this modern system of all of a sudden there's money in your account, nobody knows. I like signing a check. You sort of, but we're gonna pay, and I don't want a discount. He would give me a discount, but if I do a discount, they're gonna say, "Oh, he got benefit."
What about?
I don't want any discount.
What about a vanity plate?
Yeah, let's see. Truth.
All right.
There it is.
T-R-U-T-H,
Can he download his
truth.
playlist?
You
How does that
that,
Sure.
that one got you by surprise.
Playlist gets downloaded as well. You can thump your music driving
You
around.
can do it. I
Sound
just looked
system's
at that.
amazing.
I looked at that dashboard. You can do anything.
Mr. President, do you think you buying a Tesla will boost Tesla sales and boost
Well, I
their
hope
stock?
it does. Look.
Was that your
I
goal
care
by doing
about
this?
one thing. When somebody's a great patriot, they shouldn't be hurt. He's a great patriot. He didn't know me from Adam until we met a little bit when I was in my first term, but he came out, he endorsed me very strongly, and I admired that and respected that, and I respected him for years. I respected him. And when there was a chance to help our government, you know, you're not going to use an average person. Some people would say, well, let's use somebody that failed in business for his whole life. You know, this guy has been amazing. And the kind of thinking is it's from a different age. It's really from a different age. When we said, let's cut 2%, he said, let's cut 60%. And he turned out to be right. And a lot of people are just not here. They don't work for us. I mean, they're getting checks and they don't work. And you know, Peter, look, we have so many different stats and so many different figures. And it's so embarrassing to us as a country. No, we're going to have a streamlined country with good people. And one of the reasons, and I called for it wasn't a cabinet meeting, it was just a meeting of some cabinet members and Elon. The one thing, and I think he agrees with me 100%, it's one thing to cut, but we want to cut the wrong people, meaning we want to cut people that aren't doing the job. We want to keep the right people.
Absolutely.
And I said, I don't want to just say we're going to cut 50%. I want to cut the people that aren't doing the job, the people that aren't there, the people that are scamming the system. And he agrees with that 100%.
And are you sure you don't want to take a test drive?
I'd love to do it. Maybe I'll do it some other time.
Do you want Elon to keep working with you throughout your first term? I mean, is there going to be an end date for the two of you working together?
I don't
in the
know.
next few
You know, I
years?
was thinking about that the other day. I think he'll know when it's time.
Okay.
Well, he doesn't want to stay around.
He has
It's
up
just,
to 130
although I
days,
think he does like it. There's no place like the White House.
Elon,
Okay,
do you
so
wanna-
maybe
would you want to stay?
I don't think that. I think he wants to get the job done, get back to his businesses. That's what I think.
I just want to. I'll stay as long as it's useful and productive, and if I can help the country, I'll stay and do so.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
President
you.
Trump.
Thank you, President Trump.
Good looking guy.
Elon, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody. Pulitzer Prize. It's nice, Susie, huh?